Excellent, squads. Solving quadratics using quadratic formula. So we're moving into solving. What is a quadratic formula? Well, the formula is x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I'm just going to switch it up a little bit and actually do it this way. All over 2a, but I'm going to make it over 2a here and over 2a there, so we can split that up already. So once again, your equation for standard form for a quadratic function is this. Here's a, here's b, here's c. All you need to do is identify a, b, c, and pretty much plug it in, do the math, and then find your x-intercepts. The quadratic solving will give you your x-intercepts. Alright, but one thing I do want to talk about before we get into an example is actually this guy here. B squared minus 4ac. This is called your discriminant. This discriminant is going to tell us a lot of things. B squared minus 4ac, there's three cases. If it's greater than 0, then you're going to have two x-intercepts. In other words, your graph, you'll have like two x-intercepts like here and here. If b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, that means you're going to have one x-intercept. That means it could be just right in the origin. Which means what? What does it mean if you have one point there? That means your x-intercept is actually your vertex. So your x-intercept is actually your vertex. And then if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, then we have no solution. So your graph might look like this, where there is going to be no x-intercepts. The reason why there's no solution is because if you look at this, b squared minus 4ac is actually square rooted. So because it's square rooted, you cannot have a negative inside. Alright, your first example. Here's your equation, y equals x squared plus 8x plus 12. I put that 1 there so you know what a is. A is 1, b is 8, 12 is c. So now you just plug it in. So you have x equals negative b over 2a plus or minus square root b squared. I'm going to write everything out so I can show my work. 4ac all over 2a. And then you get what? Negative 8 over 2 plus or minus square root of 8 squared, 64. 4 times 12 times 1 is 48 all over 2. So we have that. So we have what? Negative 8 over 2 plus or minus square root of 64 minus 48 is 16 all over 2. Be careful, misconception. A lot of kids will start canceling out 16 and 2 and they'll say that's 8. You cannot do that right now because the 16 is inside the square root and the 2 isn't, so you can't bring them together. Just be careful there. So negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4 plus or minus, but the square root of 16 is 4 over 2. So we just keep simplifying. Negative 4 plus or minus 2. What does plus or minus mean? Well, that just means two things. That means it's negative 4 plus 2, negative 4 minus 2. So you get negative 2 and you get negative 6. So those are your two x-intercepts. Just real quick here, 16, that's my discriminant. So because it's greater than 0, how many solutions are we supposed to have? Good, we're supposed to have 2 solutions. Alright, so check your work. You need to memorize the formula, that's the most important thing. Gonna know A, B, C. Plug it into your equation and start simplifying. Start with the square roots always and start simplifying inside the discriminant. And look at your discriminant. Is it greater than 0 with 2 solutions? Is it equal to 0? You have 1 solution. If it's less than 0, you can technically stop there because you can't take a square root negative and you can just say it's no solution and don't finish the problem off. And just be careful here when you have plus or minus. What does plus or minus mean? That means you have something plus something and then something minus something. Alright, good job. That concludes our lesson. I have 3 examples for you guys to try, so just let's get ready for that. Alright, you guys ready? Your first example, basic. So your basic example is, what is the quadratic formula? So right now, I want you to repeat it to yourself 5 times. Go, look at the paper first, and then probably around the 3rd or 4th or 5th time, try to start taking away the paper away and try to memorize it. Okay, so what is it? Repeat with me. X equal what? Negative b over 2a, good. Plus or minus square root of, what goes inside? What's the discriminant? B squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Alright, so make sure you have this. You mess this up and the whole problem is messed up, so make sure you have to memorize this. This is your first step. Alright, good job. Alright, good job. You guys memorized the quadratic formula, so let's go to our second problem, our intermediate level. I want you to find the discriminant and tell me how many solutions does this example have. Some example is y equals 2x squared minus 4x plus 1. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. So when you do that right now, plug in b squared minus 4ac. Tell me, is it greater than 0, is it equal to 0, or is it less than 0, and tell me how many solutions. I don't need the answer, I just need to know how many solutions there are. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to a minute. Try it, go. Alright, welcome back. Let's plug it in. Here's A. A is 2, negative 4 is B, C is 1. So let's try this. So it's negative 4 squared minus 4AC. So negative 4 times negative 4 is 16 minus 8. So you have 8. So how many solutions do we have then? My answer is positive. Good. You have 2 solutions. Alright, so we should have 2 x-intercepts. When we talk about solutions, we're talking about x-intercepts on your graph. Alright, check your answers, make sure all your values are correct, and we'll go on from there. Good job. Alright, so we memorized the quadratic formula, we used the discriminant to figure out how many solutions there are, 2, 1, or 0. Now let's do the whole thing. Let's find the 2 x-intercepts. Give me those 2 x-intercepts, plug these guys into your quadratic formula, and then give me those 2 x-intercepts. I'm going to give you about a minute. This does take a little longer. Try your best, don't give up. This is your advanced level, you guys can do this. Go. Alright, let's see what we got. So you have x equals negative b, so negative negative, over 2a. So a, b, c, plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So let's continue just simplifying. You have positive 5 over 4 plus or minus square root of 5 squared. Negative 5 squared is positive 25. Minus 4 times 2 is 8. So you get times 3 is 24 all over 4. So you keep simplifying this. 5 fourths plus or minus. Square root of 25 minus 24 is 1 over 4. What is the square root of 1? Good, it's 1. So you have 5 fourths plus or minus 1 fourth. Let's combine 5 fourths and 1 fourth. I know it's fractions, but you won't like it, but 5 fourths plus 1 fourth is 6 fourths, which is what? 3 halves. And then 5 fourths minus 1 fourth is what? 4 over 4, which is 1. So you have 2. Make sure you guys always circle or square your answers. You have 2 x-intercepts, you have 1, and you have 3 halves. Alright, so check your answers, be careful with the math. For your x-intercepts, you should have 2 x-intercepts, 3 halves, and then 1. Alright, good job. We made it. We talked about the quadratic formula. We memorized that. We talked about discriminant, how many solutions, 2, 1, or 0. And then we actually tried to do a problem together, finding my 2 x-intercepts in this case. Alright, great job. We made it. Good job. Congratulations. Alright, Stone Squad, we made it. We were able to solve quadratics using quadratic formula. If this video is helpful, please subscribe to my channel. Please turn on your notifications. On the bottom, there's a link if you need any assessments pertaining to this. There's a mini assessment on there. So just with maths, make sure you guys never give up. Continue to try, have a growth mindset, and stay tuned for our next video.